Hello everyone, I'm Red Team Beaver, and welcome back to day 15 of the Advent of Cyber 3 by TryHackMe. We don't have a challenge today because the Grinch took a day off, but we have a nice quiz about basically our future careers in cybersecurity. So let's do it together, and once the quiz is done and we've discussed a little bit of what we're seeing, I'll switch this video into a podcast mode and basically just talk about my experience looking for a job in cybersecurity and more specifically into offensive security. So let's take a look at the quiz. So we have a couple of questions that are very nice questions. I'll just fast forward the quiz and go to the end because you see all of the options. So I'll just use the first question all the time. So you see that we have a couple of basically the descriptions of different careers that you can have in cybersecurity. That's not the extent of it, but that's a good start. So I'll focus on penetration tester and red teamer because most of you will be interested in this, but I'll also glance over the other ones. Please note, I am not an expert in all of these. I am not a security analyst. I am not an incident responder. I am not a security engineer, etc. But I'll still try to discuss a little bit about what I know about these roles and how basically you can go into them. So what is the difference between a penetration tester and a red teamer? That's a concept that a lot of people don't have difficulty grasping, but basically it's not the same thing, right? So a penetration tester will basically test the infrastructure of a network and they will try to be basically as loud as possible to give as much chance to the blue team to catch them. So basically they're testing the security. If there's say exploits, if there's bad patches, etc., that's what they're aiming for. However, a red teamer, they actually play the role of an adversary. They try to pretend to be advanced attacks, even APTs maybe, and basically what they're trying to do is a longer term assessment. For example, a pen test could take a week or two, while a red team assessment could take months to complete because you're trying to be stealthy as an attacker. You're trying to really pretend to be an attacker. And so what is security analyst? Well, basically, as they say here, they're responsible for maintaining the security of an organization's data. This is very wide, and you can have various roles doing security analysis, right? Incident responders, when there's a fire, we need firefighters. When there's a cyber incident, we need incident responders. Whenever something bad happens, they're the ones to go to the company. And there's actually a lot of stories about incident responders in the Darknet Diary podcast, which I highly recommend to you. I highly encourage you to listen to all of them, right? There's over 100 episodes now, and it's all highly quality. Security engineers, they're the ones that want to design security control networks, etc., right? So they're the ones coming up with the solutions of how do we do security, right? So this is a very brief overview, and now I'll actually switch over to podcast mode and discuss a little bit more about my own experience looking for a job. So let's go into the podcast mode and let's go over a couple of sections. Hey everyone, so this is my second time recording this actually because, well, the first time I felt like my ideas were a bit all over the place. So this time I made some notes and I'll try to follow it along. So what I'll cover in this first podcast-like video is who am I, finding a job in the industry, and what is networking, and finally my experience so far in the field. So who am I? Well, first off, I recently got hired by a firm that does red teaming assessments. So I feel very lucky for this, but as you'll see, I do not have yet professional experience. However, I'm an OSCP, but I do not come from a computer science background, which is a big lesson for all of you is that you don't necessarily need to have the right studies, background, current job, and it's never too late to switch it up and go into cybersec. You just need to be very dedicated. So, who am I? Well, I'm a red teamer in a month time. I am a BBA in finance, so I have a Bachelor of Administration in Finance. I have an undergraduate certificate in cyber investigation, and I am an OSCP. I am most importantly not an authority on the subject matter. I'm just some guy that managed to go through the hoops and loops of this process. Everyone's path is different, and having basically a strong idea of where you're going will help you out. And I want you guys to take everything I say with a grain of salt, just because I am not aware of your situation and you're not fully aware of mine. So you will need to adapt my concepts and ideas to your own situation, but I do believe I have a good basis of what I'm talking about. So, what is the most important aspects of finding a job in cybersecurity, and especially in offensive security, in my opinion? And that's networking. I use LinkedIn to network, and if you are looking for entry-level jobs, I highly suggest to you that you go over on LinkedIn, pimp out your LinkedIn, and start talking with people that are doing the job you want to do, right? So for example, if you want to become a pen tester, look for pen testers in your country or in your area. Or if you want to move countries, look for pen testers in the country you're looking to move to and start talking with them. Talk about their experience and how they got a job. Are they fully certified, or do they have 55 academic degrees, right? You need to know about what your field is expecting you to have in order to get a job. You need to know that so you can better prepare and basically be work ready for an entry-level job as soon as possible. So my experience is that LinkedIn is everything, right? And opportunity is when luck meets your preparation. So you need to be prepared to get a job and talk to people whenever you have the opportunity to talk with them. So for example, if you're talking with recruiters from your country or directors that manage teams that you would like to work in, or even just maybe future colleagues, you need to be able to hold a conversation with them. So I don't suggest that you listen to this video and have no idea how to use Linux, Python, no idea about the pen testing or hacking methodology, and then you go ahead and on LinkedIn and try to find jobs. You won't get anywhere. You need to have dedication to the field and then discuss with people and be able to show this dedication. What do I mean with that? Well, for example, if you are studying for a certification, or even if you are just doing ActaBox or TryHackMe, make sure that you have a strong knowledge in what you're going to talk about and be able to answer basic questions about the field. And if you are not at this point yet, you can look for this knowledge via various courses, which I'll go over my resources at the end. But basically, you need to be able to hold a conversation with people before you start talking with them, obviously. Why is that? Well, if you already know what you're talking about, and for example, there's a firm recruiting in your country and they're looking for somebody with 3 to 5 years of experience that are OSCP or GPEN or any other certifications from the field, well, even if you don't have any of this, right, you could still maybe talk with a recruiter, and if you know what you're talking about, then you may even get interviews, even though you don't meet this wish list of attributes that they want the future person to have. These job postings are basically wish lists of what they're looking for, but they could make exceptions if they have the power to do so. That's why you need to be prepared, because if you have the luck to get an interview, you need to be able to show off this skill. How do you show off your skills? Well, you can do write-ups, you can do videos, you can try to make basic tools in a GitHub repo. You need to be able to quantify your efforts put in the field. What does this mean? It means you need to work You need to work without being paid for this. You need to show dedication. You need to be passionate. You need to not see doing all of this as a chore, but more as a fun thing. That's what the field is looking for. They're looking for people that are passionate, and that's my experience from that. And what does that mean? Well, for example, on LinkedIn, I saw a post of somebody that was explaining their experience with a recruiter, and the recruiter didn't care about their degrees or anything like that. They cared about the fact that they were top 1% on TryHackMe, for example. And that's a thing I saw on LinkedIn. That's a true story. I don't know if how true the story is, but that's something I actually saw. And I'm not surprised, right? This field is always evolving, and salaries are quite high. So a lot of people are looking to get into cybersecurity to get a salary in the 6 digits, and I'm talking about North America right now. And basically they don't care about the field that much, they just want a high salary. But that's not the kind of people these companies are looking for. These companies are looking for people that will look at different issues in their off time, that are following up with the news, etc. Yes, it means that you need to be dedicated to the field outside of your work, and I'm not saying that you should burn yourself out doing all of this research outside of work and not being paid to do work, basically. But still, you should have enough passion for the field to look into CTFs, hackathons, develop your own projects, be curious. Being curious, that's the key aspects of it, in my opinion. So, what can you take out of this? Well, in my opinion, you need to network with people. How do you find people? Well, depending on where you are in the world, I'm pretty sure that people will have some kind of LinkedIn presence. So you could look, for example, if you're looking for a pen tester job in Canada, because I'm from Canada, well, you could look at LinkedIn and just type pen tester job, for example, go look at the jobs and see who are posting jobs, right? Which companies? Then you can look at these companies and basically go ahead and contact people from this company. You can contact recruiters, you can contact directors, you can contact people whose job you would like to do, etc. And all of this will build your network. And the more connections you have on LinkedIn, the easier it will be to talk to people, basically, because you will have second-degree connections to pretty much all of the field. Cybersecurity is a small field, right? So when you're local to a city or a country, you'll get connected with a lot of people from that city and country, and then it's easier to get connected with even more people. That's what I'm saying. So my experience, how did I get my job? Well, I'm not sure exactly, but I do believe it came after the fact that I posted my experience with the OSCP, right? I did some kind of write-up about how I did my OSCP, what resources I used, how I felt about it. And from this, I got lucky enough to talk with a recruiter from the firm I will be working in a month. And that recruiter basically put my resume on somebody's desk, and I got lucky enough to have a virtual interview with them. And that job was my dream job. I really wanted that job. So I kept working. I asked them in the interview, what should I be looking for in order to get prepared for working for you, for example? And then they gave me some ideas. Then I kept them updated with what I was doing, and I had a very good feeling about this company. I really wanted to work there. That's what I mean. And I got lucky enough, and I am blessed to have gotten a job offer from them a couple of weeks later. And I feel very, very lucky because this is my dream job. So if anybody from this company comes over, hi, and I'm looking forward to work with you. So what should you take out of this? Well, network, prepare, work. You need to be able to quantify the work you're doing. You need to be able to share your work via GitHub, write-ups, etc. And you need to speak with people. If you are introvert, well, you need to get out of your comfort zone. You will need to speak with people. You can't just apply to jobs blindly and hope to get something. For example, when I was looking for a job in finance, I applied to 135 opportunities. I had academic competitions in my background. I won some competitions, and I had a very decent resume. But because I didn't speak with people, like I didn't connect with them on LinkedIn, for example. Well, I never got past the phone interview, and that's where networking is important. You need to show yourself to the world, and you need to talk with people from the world, recruiters, directors, people whose job you're looking for, so maybe future colleagues. That's what I mean. So you need to be out there, because if you're not out there, how will they find you, right? So what is my experience so far? Well, from talking with people from the industry, I know that everyone seems to be very strong technically, but most importantly, they all seem to be able to find information, right? So they are able to be autonomous in this process of looking for information based on unknown situations, for example. You need to be autonomous, but you also need to know when to ask questions, because you must not pretend to be a know-it-all. Nobody likes a know-it-all, and especially in cybersec, you can't know it all. You need to look for answers, and you need to be able to find answers on your own, and also with the help of your future colleagues, right? Pen testing and red teaming are wide worlds. Dive in, but just remember that it's a marathon and not a sprint. And that works for both your looking for a job process and also the real life of it, right? So everything is a marathon, not a sprint. You won't know everything, and that's fine. Just keep building on top of what you have. And as the cyber mentor once said, always aim to be the not the smartest person in the room, right? Attempt to learn from what other people have to tell you. Even when you will have 20 years of experience, you can still be taught something about that new guy that comes into the conference room and starts talking. Don't sit on your current knowledge, and always aim to expand it. And that's both by doing your own research and also using others people's knowledge. So what did I use to prepare for the OSCP? Show off that I have some decent basic skills. Well, I used, of course, the Cyber Mentor's courses, such as the Practical Ethical Hacking course that he has, but he also has a free 15-hour video on YouTube that I will link in the description below. Obviously, I used TryHackMe and Actabox. I participated in CTFs and hackathons, and I wrote some write-ups of different boxes I did. And they don't need to be art boxes, right? Don't tell yourself, oh, this box has already been written up 50 times, I won't do it. Yes, do it. You need to show your communication skills. That's a very important skill as a penetration tester. You need to be able to simplify the complex, and you need to be able to show that you have writing skills. And that's why the OSCP, for example, has basically everything revolves around your report, right? And they are very specific about what kind of information they want in the report, and you need to follow this to the letter, or else you may fail, right? That's because reports and being able to write is very important in this field. You will spend a lot of time writing up stuff, so get good at it. So that will basically end this podcast section. I hope you enjoyed it, and if I can give you again my key points of everything I've said is network with people that are interesting to you. Make sure that you work on developing your skills on your own, and that you are passionate about the field. If you're not passionate about the field and you're not gonna want to look at new stuff, for example, we recently have Log4j that came out. Well, if you are not following this, and if you're not interested in following and learning all the time, maybe it's not the field for you, right? Consider it. You need to be in love with what you're doing. And see, we always talk about if you love what you're doing, you will never work a day in your life. That's not totally true. You will. Some days are harder than others, but overall, it's true. You need to be passionate about what you're doing and not just look at the salary you're gonna get. So network, work, and talk with people. And if you want to ask me questions, write them in the comments section below, and I will try to answer the best I can. And if you would like a longer version of me rambling about getting a job, let me know as well, and maybe I can try to cover some stuff I didn't cover here. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you tomorrow for day 16 of the Legend of Cyber 3 by TryHackMe.